What up? What up?
What's up, everybody?
How's it going? We're back here.
We are back. We are blessed. We are here once again, another day.
This is Honestly Speaking.
Honestly speaking, on December 27th,
Yep, hope everybody had a Merry Christmas.
2022. Merry Christmas to you guys. Happy holidays.
I know we did as a family. Christmas was wonderful. We want to thank you again for tuning in. Today I feel very indifferent. A little indifferent today. And the only reason why I say that is because there's so many things going on. And sometimes it's hard to process it at such a quick time. Just with this recent birthday I've had, and got Christmas and then New Year's coming up. I really been trying to go at my own pace so that I don't stretch and stress myself out, bro. So I've been feeling kind of indifferent just about certain things. But I believe that's a part of the challenge, a part of the challenge of growing, and a part of the challenge of being present and aware of just the things that are going on around me. You know?
Yes, sir.
How you feel today?
Man, I don't feel too bad, man. But I worked early this morning, 12 hours. But I really get no rest. But you got to push through that. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, man, dealing with people is going to constantly be a struggle to love people in the way that God loved us. I think that's like the biggest thing, especially having personal feelings as a human being. I think it's tough because I feel that it's a calling for me. Like, I know that I have a lot of grace for people.
Yeah.
And so that's why I always, like, I think a downfall for myself is always expecting the best out of people, no matter what has transpired. So I feel like, it's been tough, the last few days. Like, of course you show love to people and you do for people, and Christmas just came, but I feel like it's just tough. You just run into certain people, and it can be people you love. It's just, it can be tough, man. But other than that, man, I feel good. I feel good, man. I feel I'm in a good headspace.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be alive. Grateful to be here. And that's really what me and my brother kind of pride this segment or season of our life on, just being honest. That's why we named the show Honestly Speaking, because you can't really get anywhere in life unless you're honest with yourself, man. And the more you lie to yourself, the more you believe the lie, the more you live in the lie. So that's why I feel like the expression that we have in showing this is really wrapped up in that mindset of just being honest about the things that go on in life, the ups, the downs, the in betweens, because that overall helps us to grow into what what makes us better. You know what I mean? And you really know what you truly love when you push through the moments that feel uncomfortable. Uncle Mo was preaching and teaching to us on Sunday about how love is really the answer to everything. He titled it, "Put a Little Love in Your Heart." I thought that was very clever and interesting. He modeled it after the song "Put a Little Love in Your Heart." And he gave a few points, that love is a chance, love is change.
Love is challenging.
But that's what I was going to get to. What really stuck out to me was love is a challenge. And I've always struggled with that. He said something interesting. I just don't want you thinking that if you're struggling to love a person or some things, that you feel like you're not out of the will of God. And it made me just think like, man, like that just made me feel better as a person. Like, because there's certain things that's just challenging when it comes to this love walk and this love journey. But the overall view of what I've experienced is real love is actually that. Like when you can experience the challenge and still uh, be present in the form of love and have a kindness and a gentleness in your heart, a perseverance in your heart that allows you to um, love somebody properly. Love is a very uh, it's a very challenging thing when it gets to people that are just hard to love. And it's not always people. It's sometimes it's just things like you know even even in a relationship with God, there's just ways where you have to can't just really say you love God without showing it. You know, one way is to listen to what He says.
First and foremost.
You know what I mean? Abide by like what His will and like what He wants for you. Another way to love God is to love His creation, and that's where it get tricky too. Like, um, even as just, I mean, just a minute ago, just expressing, if we're being honest, just expressing just a minute ago about how people take advantage of you when they get comfortable.
we just talked about that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like literally take advantage of you when they get comfortable with you as a person. Get comfortable with you where you're beneficial to them. Get comfortable with you where they see an opportunity. You know what I mean? And it's very hard to continue in love with people like that because you feel used. You ultimately feel used. You ultimately feel taken for granted, and that doesn't always feel good. I was going to say it never feels good. You know what I'm saying? And it's very interesting because love really is everything. It is everything, and it takes a lot of clarity, understanding, and honesty to really love effectively. Like I mean, like we were just talking about this, like about how frustrating it could be when you have to kind of because I don't want to say it this way because it's not always turning the other cheek. Sometimes love is like confronting. Like it's not just always turning the another cheek or turning a blind eye to something. Sometimes it's confronting as well. Like, but that turning the other cheek though, that's really challenging. Like for me,
Yeah, 100%.
because sometimes it's like, man, you feel like you have to voice. You know, you have to voice where you feel like a boundary or a line has been crossed.
See, what I've learned, and I've like learned this in like my relationship as well, because I was someone who always would turn the other cheek. Like, I'm not really a confrontational person just at nature, but like getting older and kind of like coming into my own man, I've grown to be like, man, I'm not going to like uh, tiptoe around issues or around something that made me feel
Uncomfortable.
bad,
Yeah.
or frustrated,
Yeah.
angry, upset, whatever emotions came from the situation. I'm not going to tiptoe around that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm
Yeah.
not going to stroke your ego. You know what I'm saying? To make you feel good.
Yeah.
If something didn't make me feel okay, like you're well in that right to express that, and vice versa. So am I. So I think I learned that just learning effective communication and just being like, man, this I don't really like the way that you did that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's not always that black and white. Like you get frustrated.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you can end up frustrating and yelling and
Yeah.
but
I don't think people fully understand that.
like you can become irate because, for one, it could be someone you really dearly love. And for two, it's just like, dude, you're not really, you're committed to misunderstanding me right now.
Yeah.
Like
Wow.
you're not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Wow.
like I feel like our relationship has always been dope because we could say something and then it won't be like a. Well, we don't really have that relationship, so it don't really apply to us. Like we don't really have a volatile relationship to where it's like it's a lot of disagreement or a lot of like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, because we're more like prompt to listen to
yeah,
each other.
like that's just kind of how,
just like not just to understand, but to actually like listen.
right? Like
Yeah.
that's just our relationship
Yeah.
growing up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Me being 4 or 5 years younger than you know what I'm saying? I looked up to you, so you were like tougher than me, being tough on me. So it was like I learned that. So it's kind of like that was. It wasn't really like a thing where those brothers that butt heads and be fighting. It's like, nah, you know what I'm saying? I learned a lot from him. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? He helped me navigate through a lot of the same things that we did playing sports.
I think that I think that like I think that came because ultimately um I was always like looked at as being just prompted to be like a leader, even though that was like something I really didn't want when I was younger.
Yeah.
It forced me to have to like do things that I necessarily didn't want to do.
Right.
And I've grown to actually I realized I've grown to like have grown to actually love the fact that that was placed upon me at that early age because now there's a way and a form of where how my life is, and now I'm able where I can control in my life. I'm able to take the reins and kind of like be a leader in the fact of like not always getting it right, but but striving to just be better. You know what I mean? Like that was always my thing. Was like, yeah, I may not be where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. Type mindset. Like, man, thank God I'm not where I used to be, even though I want more.
Yeah.
And then now, like, you know, I kind of was like, man, well, you have to change to in order to acquire more. You can't. There's always a responsibility with more. That I learned that in my life just based on me and what my experiences, and I think that's where I've always like dealt with my family in situations like even when you decided to play basketball, you know, I would have those conversations with you like, hey, bro, it's a game, but this ain't a game. You know, if you're gonna play, you got to be a dog. You know what I mean? Because and I ultimately knew that because I seen early that people would always say, "Oh, you're MA's brother. Oh you Marcus's brother." You know, I heard that so much that I was like, "Develop your own identity now. Don't let nobody tell you what you are."
Yeah.
And this is the perfect arena
Mm-hmm.
where you can set your identity. Like, you know what I mean? Where you can set uh, your expression of the game to everybody else so that you can become who you need to be. You know what I mean? I made sure that like it wasn't no shadow you had to live behind, like because people will force you into that. Like, you know what I'm saying? As your older brother, I was always like that was like a part of my that was my love. Like, you know what I'm saying? Was like, hey, bro, don't don't take this for granted. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
if you're gonna do this to the fullest. You know what I mean? Like, and I think a big part of our connection where we became closer is when you went off to play in college.
Yeah.
Because I had already kind of like experienced that. You know what I mean? Like, I already kind of went away and played against some of the top talent in Northern California and really in the country. People play from from everywhere in the country, but when I seen you taking your steps and preparing to go off, I was like, bro, you know, you remember, I was like, bro, ain't no friends up there.
Yeah.
Ain't no buddies up there. Yeah, you cool. You help, you know, people may help you out, you may help some people out, but that's the generalize that to that.
Right.
Ain't no partners up there.
Yeah.
Everybody is competition. Everybody is opposition. You know what I'm saying? And treated as such. It may seem a little cutthroat, but that's how you got to be if you gonna be the man, bro. You know what I'm saying? You have to black out and only see the game. Cause that's how I was, bro. And you can ask anybody that ever played with me, bro. Like anybody that ever played on a team with me, bro. They'd be like, bro, this dude is a killer. He's gonna go get the rebound. He's gonna take it coast to coast. He's gonna dime you. He's gonna hit the three. He's gonna hit the big shot. I pride myself on that because I experienced it early. So when I had my brother who was playing the sport, oh, bro, this is what you need. Right. This is what you need to make a difference.
Yeah.
And what was that? PVC. What's PVC?
Yeah, PVC. Yeah.
PVC, bro. You were the best player on that team.
Yeah.
Like, and I seen in the games that I did watch, I seen where you took what I was telling you and you put that in the court, bro. You were a menace. You were going to get the steal. Nobody had to pass you the ball. You know what I'm saying? The ball was, you're going to go get the ball. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in that commanding, you can see your teammates, if they ever didn't have the answer, they kicking it to you. Where he at? I seen your coach, bro. This is why I knew, like, I was like, man, and we never had this conversation. Like, we never had this conversation. I seen your coach in one of the games, bro, and he was so relaxed. When you had the ball in your hand, I said, oh, he must have, like, the green light.
Oh, yeah, for surely. I remember that, like, it was one time, and this was in practice, too. Like, he had, we were, like, just going through getting ready for the game next day. We were just going through our little 5-on-5 stuff. Cool, boom. Running our sets, playing defense, still being competitive. But it was like certain shots where I'm not really a bad shot taker. Yeah. And it was like certain shots where I was like, this ain't really an open shot. Like, I ain't gonna take this, I'm gonna kick it.
Right.
In practice though, he came to me after practice and was like, dude, if you don't shoot those shots, I gotta take you out the game. Cause this when I knew I had the green light for real though. Cause it would be like a half kind of contest, and he'd be like, if you don't take those shots, I gotta take you out the game.
Yeah.
You are our best shooter.
Yeah.
You're shooting 50% plus from three.
Right.
I need you shooting those. And then there was another game that was that same instance. I don't even know what I had to this point, and I wasn't shooting the ball. I don't know what was going on. Like, we was just playing down to the level of the competition, and they were competitive though. But I just wasn't really looking for my shot or nothing. And so he called the timeout, got in my grill though. This is the first time, like the only time he really yelled at me though.
Yeah.
Got in my grill though. Shoot the ball. Da, 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 da. All right. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. Like, look, it's time now.
Yeah.
I must have finished with 26 seconds. And I think I might have had 5 or 7.
And people that are watching this, the reason why we're talking about this stuff is because we're showing you the different conditions of love.
Right.
Because we love the game of basketball.
Right.
We just wrapping it around sports.
It's been a big part of our life.
But there's a lot of things that are out there that people are passionate about, and that ultimately we know that you love, and there are going to be different conditions relying on that. See, when somebody can see the potential in you, it's not going to be all soft and coddly. Sometimes it's going to be like, no. It's going to be stern. It's going to be in your face so that you can wake up. That's a part of the conditions of when you love somebody. You see something that they may not see. You got to, hey, come on. Get out of the slump. See yourself in a better light. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's a lot of that comes in with sports that shows the condition. When you truly love somebody, I knew the people that really rocked with me because they would be like, hey man, all right, shoot an extra 100 jumpers. Hey, nah, bro. Right here. You gotta get right here. If you don't get right here, bro, I knew the coaches that messed with me and the players that messed with me because they'd be like, hey, bro, come on, bro. Like, hey man. Like, bro, you come on, bro. Like, if you don't, then we don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was like, man, like, it was certain areas where, I would say like the gratification of just what I was looking for, when it didn't come from like friends or family, it came from sports. It really came from like being out there on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like in those conditions. And then there was moments where it was soft and gentle, where it was just like, man, like, hey, you don't have to be so angry. You can play with some finesse and some relax. Like you can be lax a little bit. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it was moments where it just changed. And that's where I felt like truly I was like, yeah, I love this game. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what I do. Like I love this game. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and if I could switch that over, the idea or mindset, have you experienced those different conditions with you having a relationship with God? Like, you know how like the vigorous changes, like the vigorous changes where you had to feel like you had to implement something or practice a little bit more. Because I look at our relationship with God kind of just like sports, like how God says to love, you know, our neighbor. Well, I look at my neighbor as my teammate. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and me and my, you know what I'm saying? Like, me and my teammates don't always see eye to eye. But what ultimately comes into play is, are we going to the same destination? Do we want the victory? Like, you know what I'm saying? And the goal.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Like as far as like in terms of me getting better, like especially within the last, you know, some odd months, I just felt God just like being like, you need to stay in these tasks. Like you need to continue to work. Like these like I felt him like just telling me like I'm not gonna give you what you want, you know what I'm saying, until you really like grind, until you really start doing things. Like and I noticed when I started doing stuff differently, like there were certain things that were like that showed up and it was like I was like, man, like things are starting to happen. Like I'm not doing what I was doing a few years ago. Yeah. So I feel like he's like and then like to go back to like the sports and then like and just in general like sometimes like you said like you need that type of that love like because like people just sugarcoating stuff and just kind of always being nice about stuff. It don't really like it don't light no fire under you like and I know from like experience like you know playing you know ball like when a coach would get on me like get in my face like grab my jersey like what are you doing? It's like it I don't know it just you just get hot you just get heated and now you like man now I'm ready to play for real
Right.
and like me personally I was more like a poised person but like I only got to talking when people like got to talking to me like because like I told you it was always something to prove to me like, it was always someone needing to out my game or out me as in life in general.
And that the reason why I ask that is because it can be so it can be so parallel to the actions that you have to like go through like that you have to express or whatever like you know what I mean like
I'll say
it's so parallel to it.
I'll say what is or what way has God shown love to you? Like what's the biggest way or the biggest form God has shown love to you this year?
This year, biggest way that God has shown love to me. What is the biggest way God has shown love to me this year? I would say,
like what situation stuck out and he was like, man, thank you God. like
I would say that I would say that I'm constantly blown away that He still deals with me. Like that almost brings me to tears every time I think about it. Like every mistake I've made, the mistakes that's like known, unknown.
Right.
Every time I knew better and didn't do it, every time that I didn't take an opportunity to spend time with Him, even when I felt it in my spirit to do it, I was like, nah. Every time I every time I try to go against the grain and demonize um, healthy change as if it was bad. Every time I tried to do all these different things, God has still been there for me in ways that I cannot explain. It blows my mind.
I have a quick verse for that. Romans 5:8. It says, "But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us."
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like that's the perfect scripture because and that's what blows me away every time.
Yeah,
And I don't care what happens. I don't. I know people are like. I know people are so astounded and blown away by miracles, signs, and wonders. Those are great things. Those are beautiful, great things. You know what I'm saying? But the thing that's the biggest miracle to me is that like even in the trashness about me, God still loves me. Like you know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like He still decides that He wants the best for me. He still decides that like no, I'm still gonna work through you. I'm still going to um, bear the burden of connection with you regardless. Like, you know what I'm saying? That, like I said, it always, like, it just, every time I think about it, like, when I really sit and meditate and think, I'm like,
yeah.
there's no way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that, like, I instantly become so grateful and have this spirit of gratitude because, you know, people don't do that.
Right.
I don't care who they are. You know what I'm saying? The closest, and this is why I'm thankful for mom because mom is the closest to God love in a flesh in like in a person that I've ever experienced in my life. My mom never gives up on me ever, and like I I thank God for that because a lot of people, you know, I had to learn this too. A lot of people don't have great relationships with their mothers, with their parents in general. You know what I'm saying? Like so I thank God for that because that's the closest thing to the resemblance of God's love that I've ever experienced in my life. And that's the biggest thing to me of what love is being that like long suffering type. Like that to me is like the it's the epitome of love. Like, man, I don't have to agree with you. I necessarily don't like what you're doing. I necessarily don't like the person you are right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I'm here when you need me.
Yeah,
You know,
I think that's another thing I'm thankful for. Piggybacking on that is just being able to see what love, the model and example of love,
yeah,
in a positive light and how
yeah,
it should be. You know what I'm saying? In marriage, um, people who are open and honest with each other, people who hug each other, do things together. Just being able to see the right example of what love, should consist of.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just piggybacking off of that point right there he made.
yeah. Like man, because it to me, there's no other way where that would happen with anybody else. But like, I feel like God is the greatest example of that. He's the ultimate example of that. But to me, it's like there's nothing else. There's really nothing else. Like, there's nothing else that you can really build your foundation on, but the love of God. Like that's like the groundbreaking factor right there, and then everything else you just build on top of that. Like all the other things
Yeah,
that we desire and we want, it's really built on that right there. Like, hey, bro, like you not you're not what you think you are. You definitely aren't perfect. You definitely don't get it right all the time. But there's a God that loves you and is willing to look past all of your flaws and iniquities. It
piggybacking off of that, man. I think just God's unconditional love, and I think that's why it's tricky to deal with people from time to time because people love us upon the conditions that, under conditions that we provide something, especially as a black man.
Yes. Yes.
That's a fact. Like if anybody wants to DM and talk to us like that, that's a fact. You know what I'm saying?
Factual.
Like I've experienced that with women. I've experienced that with friendships. Like I won't hear from a person. I am the guy that checks up on people randomly. I am the guy that talks like a lot at 2 a.m. Like that's me. I am the dude that can talk about anything. You know what I'm saying? So for anybody to ever say, like, when it comes to like doing them wrong and I didn't talk to them or this, no. I can talk to you about anything.
Right.
I'm so serious. Like to the point where I know it gets annoying.
Yep.
Like nobody has to tell me. I know it is.
Yeah.
And then I know I know if people know me, when I have a lot to say, I talk fast.
Right.
So I get to and then my girl be like, "Huh, what you say?"
Yeah.
I'm like, but that's my mind.
Yeah, running.
Yeah, like
but the same way.
You know what I'm saying? So like, no, I talk about a lot of things, like, and that helps me. So and sometimes it's a bad thing because I try to push that on people.
Not, bro. It's.
But like
it's not really a bad
for
thing.
A person who doesn't know how to communicate or who doesn't like to talk. It's tricky.
You know what I've learned, bro? I've learned this, and this is the reason why I say it's not really a bad thing.
Yeah.
Because in certain lights, you're only expressing a matter of fact that you really don't experience.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like you spend so much of your life not being listened to that it's like when you have the floor to talk, it's like,
all right,
I'm at you.
Yeah.
Here, my opinion. Why is my opinion? Why you should accept it? You're going to accept it, like because like if you experience something so long where you being shut down and shut up, when you do get a platform, it's like a wave.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's not ultimately a bad thing. Sometimes we need to have constructive conversations with each other enough to understand why we do the things that we do. Because ultimately everything is bound on the experience of what we don't experience and what we do experience. And that's why a lot of the times you are like that, because a lot of times you're quiet.
Right.
So a lot of times you're just not talking and observing other people's opinions and matters and actions, that when it's your turn, it's like, no, you're going to listen to me. Like, you're going to listen to what I have to say.
And I know certain people that come to me, they I'm the guy. Oh yeah, man, I want to ask you a question. Are you sure?
Right, are you sure about that?
Ready to listen to what I gotta say right now.
Like you gotta really be sure about that with me, because
and I'm not a bad, I don't cuss people out. I don't, you know what I'm saying? But
I used to.
You know what I'm saying? I have a way where I'm already real with myself. The world's already been real with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy for me to look in the mirror and be like, dude, you far off. You got a long way to go. You know what I'm saying? So,
and that'd be the frustrating thing, because sometimes you really find out that people's mindset, or where people or what people are talking about to you, it just, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's like what you're talking about, you're never going to get to the resolve or the conclusion of the matter, because what you're talking about or what you're hung up on, it doesn't even matter.
And then I don't complain a lot. So like,
we was talking about that.
When I be having people come to me about just like things, and I'm like, bro, like it's people that have life like so much tougher than us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like me complaining about this over here, like I be in the middle about to say something, like, and I be like, man, let me stop, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because and then I learned this too, like, bro, you gotta be, if you're gonna be an entrepreneur, a businessman, you gotta learn to solve problems.
Right.
Not create problems.
Right.
By complaining or, you know what I'm saying, not being able to figure stuff out. Like, so like, and that's kind of what we've adopted in life, just getting through and figuring things out.
Right,
You
and
know what I'm saying?
I was talking about that last time when you was telling me like, man, you just got to call in to help people, and I was like, man, the biggest frustration is that sometimes I can't have a heart for people.
Yeah.
And this is where that's that challenge. That's that love, that loving challenge.
Yeah.
That love where you're challenging the love walk. You know what I'm saying? Because it's hard for me to have a heart for people who just turn their life into this soap opera, but yet every day I gotta get up and I gotta grind. And I could sit there and whine and complain and all these things, but it's not gonna help. I know it's not gonna help. But one thing I do realize is that people need each other. So that's what's changing my heart. Like, man, everybody needs somebody, bro. Like,
Right. Yeah.
everybody needs somebody to vent to. That's why I love the scripture where it says to be slow to speak and quick to hear. Like,
yeah.
like I love that scripture because that's like, I always call it, like I say, like a cheat code, but it's like a cheat code to life. It's a cheat code to communication.
Yeah, because it's telling you, like, you know what I'm saying, you shouldn't be quick to anger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you should be quick to listen. Like, don't listen to how someone's saying it, because we got some bad communicators out there, and I've been one myself.
Right. Man.
You feel me? But I know, you know what I'm saying? And I know.
Right.
Like, nobody has to tell me that.
And that's ultimately what I give people. Like, when you ask something about me, I'm not the type of person to be like, well, you know, I'm not gonna enforce my like advice or opinion. I'm like, well, you know what I would do. I'm not that type of person. You're gonna have to ask me every time. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that when somebody does ask me and they give me the permission, like I'm like, bro, if you wanna go left, you can't keep hitting right turns.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to come out like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if you want it, because that's how I would tell it to me. And I think ultimately that's what God has blessed me with, is a way to communicate, to be, because I hear people tell me all the time, like, man, I've felt that way, but I've never been able to say it like you just said it. You know what I'm saying? Like, or it's amazing how you just said that. You know what I'm saying? That way, like, a lot of times when I do end up saying something, the person end up taking over and be like, oh, something just hit. Oh, like this. Oh, well, that's this instance right here. And then I'd be like, well, yeah, like now you, like sometimes we just need that nudge. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, I got it. All right, cool. I like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what I learned. Like, it's not always how you're saying it. It's ultimately what you're saying.
You're right.
It's just really like what you are saying. Once you say a certain phrase or a word, or those are triggers, those are sparks that could, you know, ignite ultimately the connection that we, you know what I'm saying, that we have, or the disconnection that we experience too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's be like, man, why are you talking to me like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or
yeah, and then we got to get out of this idea of like, if you live life for 80 years or whatever, and then like you're not going to communicate right every single time.
Right.
Like, we got to get out of that mindset, because then I would be perfect. That would make me a perfect communicator. Like I had to stop and think about it. Like, nobody is perfect. Like, no, oh, I just communicated right for 80 years straight.
Right, I said
I didn't raise my voice once.
All the
like, you know what I'm saying? Like with women, oh yeah, he just says and does all the right things. In what world?
In what world? Right.
So for the next 60 years, it's gonna be this. No, that's not realistic.
That's not how it goes, bro. That's not how it goes.
I'm flawed. As I was born, I'm flawed.
Yeah.
Off the rip.
And that's the reason why. That's the reason why it has to be like a reciprocal thing, because the grace that I give, I should also be able to receive.
Like, bro, you're not going to talk. I told my girl this. Like, if you expect me to talk to you the right way for the next 90 years, you need to go find Jesus. Like, go marry him.
You need to go find.
And I don't mean she needs to go get. I mean, she need to go marry him, because that's the only way she gonna get that. Like, just me being real, dog.
He said you need to go marry Jesus.
When the second coming happens,
oh my God.
You better hope and pray for Jesus to get on the one knee.
That is
because that's the only way you're gonna get it. He wrote the book on it. He wrote the book on it. I was thinking about this, bro, and I was like, women, like y'all, people expect you, not just women. I'm sorry. People expect you.
No, bro. Mostly sometimes and look, I'm not being biased. This is why I experienced.
I've dealt with this a lot.
It's just a lot of time. It does happen with
dealing with certain women. But we are wired different. But in general, it's like, dog, people expect you to like, oh, I'm gonna communicate. Like, dog, we got a long life to live, huh? Like, ain't no room for growth in this joint or what? Cause man.
He said, bro, if you want somebody that's going to say the right thing every time, you need to go marry.
You're not going to find that with me. I'm just saying,
right.
Especially where I've come from, where I've already been the type of person to let stuff slide. Like, you're not going to, like, I've already been a person in my early years of living where I let stuff slide. You think me now being in my 20s, about to be 28, in 5 days, you think now that it's just gonna be like, oh yeah, sweetheart, no, it's all good. Oh yeah, no, man, it's all good. No, that's like if you meet a woman, right? If you meet a woman,
there we go.
Let's say we're 20 years old, right? Boom. Let's say it's one of those cultures where you get married early. We get married at 20. Boom, right? Let's say they get married, boom, and they're together for 40 years. Mm-hmm. Who's gonna communicate right
for that
every moment,
that long,
every second,
right?
Every time, like when let's say this person doesn't do something that you expected them to do, you're not gonna communicate the right way. You're human. You're gonna be frustrated. Right. You're gonna be upset.
Right.
My job is not to judge you in that. My job is to love you through that, and help you get through that.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand about love. Love takes work. Like you have to work at that. That's not something that you just wish. You just go to bed, you be like, Lord Jesus, make them right, God. Make them right. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then you wake up and then they're like, they're like shining and glowing and like, how are you? Like, they're like, no, like, that's not how it works. You really got to work and say like, you got to have those uncomfortable conversations to be like, yo, when you say that and talk like that, I don't like it. I don't like it. I
got to give us the same grace that we give.
That we give.
Because
you know what I'm saying? Like,
if we say something, it's like,
and that runs for us too. Like we gotta give the grace. Like we have to give people grace and be like, you know what, man? Because there's certain things I know I don't like about people, even people that are like closest to me. I'm like, man, like if just shut up. Like sometimes, like you know what I'm saying? Like right. I feel like that sometimes, but then I have to look and see myself like, bro, no, you shut up. Like you know what I'm saying? Let them. You ultimately want people to be comfortable to be themselves so that they can grow into the best version of what they are. Because if you're always shutting somebody or shutting people down, they're just going to be intimidated by you in a way to come to you about something like that's important to them.
They're just not gonna want to fool with you.
They're not gonna want to mess with you. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's what I've been learning. Like, man, start being open to other people's worlds. Like you ain't gotta necessarily live in their world. You ain't not gotta necessarily abide by their world. You know what I'm saying? But just be open to like, hey man, they not gonna like what you like all the time. They may not want to go where you want to go all the time. You know what I'm saying? Or they may not want to speak on the things that you want to speak about. You know what I'm saying? But that's why it has to be a balance. You know what I'm saying? It has to be like a grace. What do they call it? A pendulum. Like. It swings back and forth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be that way because if it doesn't, it's just going to create a wedge where it's like, I'm going to feel like you the op every time. Like, anytime I deal with you, it's like, oh, no, like, here we go. Or like, oh, man, let me not say that because this guy or this girl or whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? It starts to get like that. And it's just like, man, that's not a healthy relationship. You're better off like, I always say this, if I have to think ill about you, I probably shouldn't be around you. If I have an ill representation of the thoughts in the mind about you, I probably shouldn't be in close quarters with you.
Or like,
I probably shouldn't be spending days of after day after day.
Or like if I think about you and like a negative thought pops up, or if I have a
As
thought,
the first thing, yeah,
if I have
right,
a thought, or I'm like I'm gonna have a conversation, tell them something about like what I just did, accomplishment, and I feel like you're gonna like down it or like
yeah,
or dismiss it.
yep.
It's like
I probably should not be around you.
probably some fool with you, big
And
dog.
sometimes that's love too. Like, man, like when you know, like, hey, us being closer together makes us weaker people. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was it? What movie was that? Was it Hitch? No, not Hitch. Hancock. Hancock. There. Oh, ultimately, the moral of the story was that the closer that he was to the woman, and the woman was to him, their powers would necessarily they would diminish. They would become weaker people. So they had to like be away from each other in order to experience their full strength of their superpowers. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes
Like,
that's like so prevalent to life, man. Sometimes you got to be away from.
yeah,
No matter, and we love people. We are in the business of loving on people,
right.
But sometimes, man,
A part of that love is sometimes space.
separation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, especially people that are married. I learned that, like, in my marriage, I was like, man, you can't always just be around. Like go somewhere. Do something. You know what I'm saying? Have an identity of self. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, I'm the type of person, like, I need to be with somebody that I can miss. And the only way you can miss somebody is if you're away from them. Because being so close to somebody, it get old. It really gets old, and then sometimes you can't really be who you are always around somebody. Right. Sometimes I just want to watch a movie and be quiet.
Sometimes I want to get on the game,
right, and just not be bothered. I don't want to answer questions.
You know, elevate my feet on the pillows. You know what I'm saying? Rest. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes I want to just think. A lot of times I spend a lot of my time alone not saying a thing. And sometimes you can't be around somebody because somebody's always enamored with you. Like, oh, like, hey, look at me. Hey.
Or just always got something to say.
Hey.
Problem with you.
Hey. Like, and you like, shut up. Like, can you just shut up for a minute?
Like, I'm not that great.
Yeah, like, exactly. And that's why when people tell me, like, man, you so amazing. Oh, man, you're a good dude. I be like, I'm all right. I'm like, because what you don't really know is, in my head right now, I'm putting my thumbs in the neck dimples that you have. Like, and I'm applying pressure and watching you slowly lose consciousness. Like, you know what I'm saying? But on the outside, it just looks like I'm calm. But I really wish you would, like, just go somewhere. Or be here and just shut up. Let me just vibe the way I want to vibe. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it sounds wrong. It do sound wrong. But you know what? I'm selfish in that way. And that's who I am. Okay? Like, and I know a lot of people can attest for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just don't want to be bothered because we're people, bro. Like, we're human people. And not every time you want to engage in communication, because a lot of times you have to be set and ready for the mood, that because your words hold weight. Yeah. So sometimes it's like you're not in the right mind. Like, I've had people try to talk to me and I'll be like, bro, I'm not in the right mindset. I'm going to tell you something that is either going to be wrong, hateful, immature, not fitting, definitely not loving. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had to, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, but it's hard to tell people that without them getting so offended. Like, I've had moments where I'll be like, yeah, I'm like talking right now. And then they dictate me not wanting to talk to them to their value. Like, my decisions should not dictate your value. I feel like that's where people just be like immature people like, well, oh yeah, you don't really love me if you don't want to deal with me right now. And it's like, what? It's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is it that I can't just have a moment? You know what I'm saying? Or just have the time that I need to have. That's why I like people who be like, man, hey, when you figure it out, I'm right here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, give me the time.
I think one thing I've done really well is like master how to engage people. Like, at work, it just be like, you know, different types of people, some people come through with the sarcastic comments, and I just sit there and
I hate that.
I just sit there and just be, because I can be sarcastic with the best of them.
Right.
I got a degree in it.
Right.
so I'll be sitting there, with the giggles and all that. Yeah, like with coworkers and stuff, they just people just like
I could be
do
very
certain
crass.
things. Yeah, and
very crass.
And I've just figured out, like, I've just become a master in psychology without being
a psychologist.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just know how to kind of like engage people and deal with people to where, situations don't escalate.
Escalate,
You know
right?
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So because I'm not with that. I don't plan on having no fight. I haven't been to no fights. I don't get in. I'm cool. Like the only time, and my girlfriend can attest to this. The only time I go outside of myself is when I defend my family.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
Anything else, to me, it's gonna take.
Yeah.
Hey, you're gonna be poking the bear for a while, trying to get me, like, get under my skin,
Right.
like insulting me. It's gonna be a while. You'll be poking for a minute. Like my family, you don't really gotta do too much.
You know what I used to do? You know what I used to do, bro? It used to be so funny, bro. Like when I was like done, I would just shut up.
Yeah.
Say this to me, like right now. Say so you're not gonna say anything. Say that.
So you're not gonna say anything? Yeah, no, but it's understandable though. Like, just sit there, give them the face. Yeah.
Not wasting my God-given breath
Right.
on the ignorance that you're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes it may not even be, and that's another thing too, man. Love is timing. Like, there's a certain time to do everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of people's timing just be off. Like, it be,
And that's kind of
it just be like,
yeah. The timing is. That's kind of like I was just thinking that when you said that last point. What did you say? As far as when you dealing with certain people, like when they do certain things to you or say certain things to you, like they don't even know they're creating a version of you
you don't even want to
that
deal
helps
with.
you that helps you survive through dealing with.
Wow.
Like, and I saw a post like this, it deals with more so like relationships.
Wow.
Like when your partner does something to you, or is a certain way to you for extended periods of time,
they're bringing out the survivor.
They're creating a version of you that they won't like because you're just on autopilot. You're just surviving through that. You know what I'm saying? And that's like, and with people as well, like because if somebody does you wrong or something like that.
Bro, that
I try not to. I'm not really this way. Like I won't really, but I can be like, if someone makes me like, for example, if someone frustrates you or makes you upset, I can be short with people. Like I don't really fight talking.
That's that is what we really don't label it as, but that's a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
You guard up.
Yeah.
Now you look just like, okay, I'm not letting nothing phase this right here. Like, you know what I'm saying? That was good, bro. Like you create a survivor. You don't create a companion or a friend or somebody who you can get close to. You create somebody who's just surviving you
through this.
Like that is great.
Like if you're in a
that's me.
If you're in a relationship, and the person's verbally abusive or whatever the case is. And they just apologize and they might bring you flowers and bring you gifts, after they've abused you. The way you're going to survive through that is you're just going to everything is going to be very minimal.
Yeah.
Your reaction with that person is going to be very minimal because you don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to do the wrong thing. You want to be. So now you're in a survival mode to where it's like, this is just how I'm going to get through this.
Because really you're reserving energy.
Right.
Like, and I've been in places like this where I've just been attacked and I'm just like, man, you don't know how close you coming to me clotheslining you, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't have anything left to give. I've done everything you've asked of me, and there's still an issue. Now you're just getting nothing from me.
Yeah, that's
Are you hungry? No. You want to go? No.
and that's where I find myself. Like, yeah, it's a real like
Just short.
detachment because it's like, dog, I'm either going to find the courage to stop dealing with this person, or I'm going to find ways for me to move through it and survive.
And survive. And see, that's why I'm single right now. That's why I'm single right now. It's that right there. Like,
Because when people do something to you,
it's like I don't want nobody close to me right now. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just like, and it's literally that though, because it's like, man, some people are just, they don't understand that if you like, especially if you voice or communicate like, yeah, now's not the time, or hey, it's probably not the best time to talk about this. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, in those regards, if they don't regard that, they don't really care about your mental being, like your mental wellness. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they have no clue sometimes that they're doing more damage than good. Cause that, like, I've always experienced that and I've never understood it until like now, like that, now that I'm older. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, man, they just don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, and in certain regards, it's like it builds up the mindset. It's like a cancer, because then you'd be like, well, I don't care. You immediately like be like, well, I don't care then. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go back for that tit for tat type thing, and it's like I'm starting to discover, it's like, man, a lot of times you just shouldn't be around the people you be around.
yeah, and
Like, that'd be the answer.
and to that point, it's like that's when you like to that point. I really can't be around you because I'm not that kind of person. Like I'm not I'm not a tit for tat person. I'm not a revenge person. That light pop back on.
Just pop back up.
Look,
Look,
see how that light
message.
You see that? You
Look.
see?
We got to the point. We got to the point.
It's right there. You see? They said you got it, guys. So it's back on now.
Jesus said you are
Y'all,
on
if you watch
track.
this video, y'all gonna see that beam of light just got bright.
Oh my God, man! Because I mean, it's you are the company that you keep, for one. You know what I'm saying? But then again, it's like, man, where the real growth and maturity comes at really at the individual type journey, until you can meet somebody that's willing to grow with you in an aspect of where, you know, where they understand now every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the beauty of it is when you meet somebody that's on the same mission. Like,
yeah,
and that's kind of, and I learned this like,
yeah,
you know, talking to my parents, like, you know, especially dad. Like, you have to be with someone who's living the same lifestyle. For example, for us, we believe in God. We go to church. So having somebody in that realm is like, you know, you need somebody going to church with you.
that's like minded, like,
you know what I'm saying. You need somebody
for
who reads
real,
the Bible.
bro.
You need somebody
For real,
who loves other people. You know
For
what I'm
real.
saying? Because and then people just think like,
if you pray, if you pray, you need somebody that you're in a relationship with. You need somebody that knows how to pray, because there's gonna be a time where you just like, you cannot muster up words to pray, and somebody that's close to you gonna see that and be like, man, I need to pray for my man, or I need to pray for my girl, or I need to pray for, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's stuff like that where it's like the keys to unlocking great relationships are those. Is that, like my brother said, like-mindedness. If you have the same person who is fighting for the same victory, you know what I'm saying, ultimately the same goal, that's what makes it easier to express those moments where it gets hard.
Yeah, and it's bigger than those moments. It's bigger than just the present tense, because if you marry this person, y'all have kids, like, man, I have to count on you, man, to be able to teach them, our children that.
Man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to, like, you have to teach your child how to love themselves and how to.
Yeah, ultimately the parenting has to be rearing the same direction.
Right. It can't like I can't be on one. So yeah, ultimately, man, with love, we wanna work on less expectations. And we want to work on like really listening to the people in our lives and what they say that they need from us. And then I think the biggest thing, we need to love people the way that they need love.
Yeah.
Not the way that we think we should love them. Because then that's an expectation. Oh well, they need love the way that they, because I think I'm so good of a person that my love is enough.
Yeah.
No. I'm smart enough
You got to give people what they need.
to know that, and I've learned this, that I need to love this person the way they need love.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, you got to be open and honest. Like, if you can't do it, or if it's too much, if you know what I'm saying, or if you just feel like we're on two different accords, like my brother said earlier, the growth and the maturity comes where you just gotta split, man.
You can
split. We gotta become great, and we gotta just let each other just be.
Every disconnect should not have malice tied to it.
Right.
If this is where you really learn where you're maturing, where you can disconnect from people and still be cordial with them. Like, you can still see them and not get sick to your stomach. You can see them and shake their hand and say, "Hello, how are you doing?" Like, you can keep it at a high and by.
If you go through something traumatic,
but if
it's gonna take some healing for sure.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And I want to get out of this mindset that time heals all. That's not true.
Yeah.
There's certain things that you might never really get over if you just allow time to go. If it's like, oh, it's been 15 years, it's like, nah. But have you taken the right steps and courses to like actually heal?
And that's what I mean. And that's what's so,
because some of us are dealing with people, bro, from the things that happened to us 20 years ago. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what's so funny with people though, because we like fake the funk. Like, we really be working.
Not honest.
Like, we really be working. And it's like, yeah, all right, 15 years went by. Man, you ain't really did nothing. You ain't really healed.
Right. And for 15 and for 15 years, you've treated people on regards of whoever hurt you 15 years ago.
Right.
You never really truly healed. And that's why you always say, like, you may say, like, oh, people are the same. It's like, nah, you're the same, and you keep doing the same things with different people. Like, now I had to learn that. Like,
I get tired of hearing this statement. I'm so sorry for the way that I am. I want to get better. Just get better, dog.
Yeah.
Like,
stop apologizing.
You know what I'm
for
saying?
it. Yeah.
I feel like if you continue to be a certain way, it's because you want to.
Yeah, because you're actually, what you're really saying when you say that is, I apologize that I'm not gonna change.
Like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
You feel me? This is me. And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But don't expect people to stick around.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You just gonna chase every person off. You gonna chase every girl off. You gonna chase every dude,
every person, because
you gonna still be the same
person. Yeah, like,
you gonna still not know how to communicate. You gonna still not know how to show love and affection. You gonna not know how to separate.
And that's ultimately, bro. That's ultimately manipulation, because you want somebody to feel bad so that they can, like, stay with you in your mess.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, you're trying to manipulate somebody as if, like, they don't love you because they're not willing to put up with the nastiness about you, or what's causing the disconnect.
And then with that part, at least for me, like, there's not going to be a hee ha ha. There's not going to be a soft tone. There's like, yo, like, I'm not prepared and willing to keep dealing with this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I've laid the cost out, and I've counted it, and I realize I'm not willing to pay it,
because because this situation is different. I see this,
it's something I know. Yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
As opposed to the flip one where we were talking about 80 years from now being married.
Yeah, like down the line, right?
I see this now.
This is somebody that's going on that I can see.
So in my mind, I'm thinking 20 years down the road.
Do I still want to put up with this because you haven't changed?
Am I going to deal with it?
Yeah,
I'm not. And then I'm not going to do this.
That's good.
I'm not going to wait and hope that you change.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to wait for that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not going to.
I hear you, bro.
Personally, I'm not prepared to
I hear you,
do that.
Yep. Because life is short.
I'm not gambling.
Life is fleeting. we don't really have that much time on this earth, so I need to be able to maximize every moment of life that I have. And sometimes you can't do that with people who just aren't willing to change.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of people would rather you change, but in that same regard, in that same mindset, what you're saying is the same thing that I want for you. So that's a very difficult battle, and sometimes you over it. Huh? A lot of people rather you change and accept them where they are, but they won't do the same for you. And that's sometimes that is like
hear it.
it hurts. Like it's just irritating. It's like it is. It is. Those are the relationships that where all the people do is argue and clash. And that's a key indicator that you guys should not be in close quarters
Because
like
they
that.
have
You know what
so
I'm
many,
saying?
they have such expectations placed on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To where it's like, you need to meet my timeline. It's like, dog.
And that's ultimately people that use you to save. They use you to save their lives that they don't like necessarily don't want to deal with. They don't want to. They want you to save them from themselves, and that's not what love is necessarily about. I can't save you from the darkness that's in the closet that you keep just.
I'm not expecting myself to do that because
like
your happiness and all that stuff.
It's not based on me. You should be happy. You should be a happy individual based on the individual that you are and that you're becoming. But if you're relying on me for happiness, you're going to be disappointed
if you're not,
every time.
And if you're not, then you got to find ways to get in that
space.
space.
You got to be honest and be like, you know what I'm saying? And that's a lot of,
that's okay.
That's a gem for a lot of people who are out there dating or trying to get in relationships, man. If you're not happy and not a happy person and you're not happy with the life that you have right now, don't get with nobody,
don't
bro.
Go messing up nobody else's.
Yeah, bro.
Don't go stripping someone else of their energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't take vibrant energy from somebody else and
here we go, E. Don't disrupt my peace because you ain't got none.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a big deal, bro. Like, we got to stop placing expectations on people of what we think they should be and how we think they should act.
Because nobody's Superman, bro.
It goes back to we're not perfect.
Yeah,
I'm not going to communicate to you for the next 80 years.
I'm not Captain Save-Em.
The way Jesus did. I'm incapable of that.
I'm not putting on no cape for you. You better talk to Jesus. Jesus he already didn't put on the cape. He died for our sins. He rose, sitting at the right hand of the Father. He didn't took care of the work. You know what I'm saying? You ain't talking to him. And that's another thing too. That's back to what my brother was saying. It's like like-mindedness. Like, man, like a lot of the times I can't connect with people because when they ask me how to deal with certain problems, I'm like, yo, this is how I deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And when I say that, I'll be like, well, this is how I deal with it, which is mostly like God, praying, going through it, getting the strength for it. They don't want to hear that answer, and it's more so like, okay, well now I know I can't mess with you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not me saying that, but they would say that to me like, oh no, I can't get with that. Well, then what are you asking me for? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And I saw a video. It was a bishop, and I know Uncat posted it, but I seen it on TikTok. And he was saying about, the smart person and the wise person. The smart person always knows what to say.
Yeah.
Like, every time something happens, you there. You got an opinion on it.
Yeah.
Boom. All right, you know what to say.
You know what fits in whatever situation.
You know what I'm saying? You Mr. Almighty.
Oh, no. Yeah, got you.
But the wise person, knows when to say it.
Timing.
How to say it.
Yep.
What to say.
Yep.
And if it should be said at all.
What not to say. Right, exactly.
If it should be said at all.
Yeah, that's facts.
That's facts. And I found that very profound because I said, man, a lot of the times in my life, man, I have had expectations and felt like, man, dealing with women, and I'm like, man, I want them to be a certain way. But then I kind of like would stop. I always stop and reflect. And like, man, nah, like that ain't really. That's not even no fun for me trying to like get them to be whom I want them to be. Like, yes, I believe in God. You know what I'm saying? I do that. I want my woman to believe in God. X, Y, Z. But she don't have to
And the reality of the thing is like, the reality of it is they can't even be what you want them to be.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And this is the reason why a lot of times you got to spend a lot of times alone because, especially with people who are dating and in relationships, man, you really don't even have an expectation that you have made on your own. Um, you have an expectation of everybody that you've ever dealt with, and you've taken the good of everybody that you've dealt with and made this like super human person,
Right.
and you want them to be that person. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And this is why we got to read the Bible.
Oh
because
man,
these are the only expectations we should be following.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. A lot of times you create order, cause your best self, is not the one that does whatever it wants to do or does or have this vision of thinking of however it wants to think. The best version of you is the person that is like controlled, like balanced, can take the good and the bad and see both equal. You know what I'm saying? Like can express themselves under control with validity and respect and class and understanding and all these things that really create a balance into you being a person that can connect in any shape or form or aspect to get whatever you're trying to get across to somebody. Like that's the best version of you, really. And if you find yourself struggling expressing how you feel or communicating in a healthy way, that speaks to an immaturity that's in you, not in what you're dealing with.
Right.
Because a lot of times you'll stop yourself from dealing with things if you're mature enough to figure out you. You won't put yourself in situations where you got to raise your voice and cuss somebody out, slash somebody's tires, show up at somebody's job. Like you,
We hope y'all ain't doing that, by the way.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like you won't if you're mature enough, you will stop yourself from being in those type of situations where you find out that whoever you talking to has somebody else they talking to or if you or if you for the men out there, if you just talking to a whole bunch of women, like you know what I'm saying, and then just thinking that it's the women's fault, like you know what I'm saying? Nah, like it's like if you're mature enough, you'll know like, hey man, like this is what my accountability and this is what I stand on in regards to, whatever choices I have made is naturally like inside of me. You know what I'm saying? If you have that mindset, you won't be like this all the time. Like, hey, like if you would just
point
talking to me like this.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say this, men. Excuse me. Fellas, give your woman some space.
Please.
Let her have some time to herself. I know it's tough. It's tough for me sometimes. And I won't say it's really tough for me because I don't need to be up under my women. But there's just communication factors that we need as men. I think that's the biggest thing. But men, let these women have space, man.
Yeah.
Like our women deal with a lot as well. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to the fellas that's, constantly. I'm talking to myself too. But I'm talking to the fellas that's constantly up under their woman and
that experience the same thing.
And you stooping down and you up here arguing with these women and getting loud with them and putting your hands on them and pushing and shoving them, thinking that's okay because it's not.
It's not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not a man.
You're not.
Get up off these women.
Yep.
And let them go be great.
Let them breathe.
You go be great over here.
Right.
She go be great over here. At the end of the day, y'all bring y'all greatness together.
I'll get a job. Whatever.
You know what I'm saying?
Whatever you got to do.
Go grind. Go figure it out.
You should be able to buy whatever you need to buy. If she,
and I'm gonna tell you from experience,
everything or whatever, go do what you need to do.
I'm gonna tell you from experience. You leave them alone, they want more of you. They come back wanting more of you. You get the good morning texts. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
You get the good morning text.
It don't got nothing to do with nothing extra.
For real.
It's just space.
For real.
You give them a little bit of space. Like you see these things.
That's what I was saying earlier, man. I was like, man, like I'm the type of cat, man. I would like to miss the person that I'm with.
Yeah.
I would like to be like while I'm at work or whatever I'm doing, or if I'm doing a project or something, I would like to think about the person I'm with and be like, man, let me hit him up and be like, man, what you doing?
I'm gonna ask you this question. Ideally, right?
Yeah.
You dating a woman,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
You meet, cool.
Yeah. The butterfly stage.
Right? how, let's say, with where you are now, what's an adequate amount of time to spend? How many times a week for you? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times? How many times for you does it work for you with everything you have going on, job, career, businesses, brands?
I would say like 3 times a week.
That's that's dope.
I would say like 3 times a week, where we actually do something like together, go
in the middle,
like 3 times a week,
I agree.
like 3 times a week,
Fellas,
because then I can do what I need to do without feeling like obligated to spend time with you, like, you know what I'm saying, like, and that's another reason why I'm single right now, because I know that once I'm in a relationship, I'm accountable for the time that I spend with that person.
right.
And that's what people don't realize. Like, you're accountable for that time. When you say, like, and then ultimately, I'm realizing too, like, man, when you get in a relationship with somebody, you're ultimately saying there's a preempt to me that I'm going to marry you.
Essentially, yes. You know what I'm saying?
At least from the Christian background, that's what I mean. Like, that's what your dating should be about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it should. And dating ain't sexual.
Right. We got to get out of this.
Dating is not sex.
There is no
sex is sex. Dating is dating.
The talking stage, it doesn't exist. You're dating or you're not.
Shots fired! Shots fired!